Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Monday. Thanks for joining us here for a live edition of our 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm Meteorologist Aaron White, and we are tracking some pretty quiet conditions here today and really for quite some time as we have this area of high pressure and control, allowing for a lot of sunshine, allowing for these nice conditions, and even the cooler weather that we had here over the weekend. We had a system that moved through that brought us that rain back on Friday into early Saturday. That was a cold front, and it ushered in some cooler conditions that we had here both on Saturday and Sunday. Still some great weather for the Buckeyes game back over the weekend. We are also tracking some quiet conditions here for the rest of the week as we are looking ahead to some warmer temperatures. So let's go ahead and dive into the forecast as we look at conditions right now. Here's a live look over downtown showing mostly sunny skies. A few clouds are popping up now, and overall temperatures are pretty nice for this time of year. Average high is about 80 degrees here today, and we're not going to see that. We're going to be in the mid 70s here this afternoon. Right now, 71 degrees with winds out of the east-southeast at 10 miles per hour. So there is a little breeze, but overall, not bad here for today, and winds are going to stay light as we go through really the next couple of days. And the other thing that we're watching is going to be eventually a chance for rain as we look ahead to the end of the weekend, but really chances are not that high. And there's only really one chance that we have here in the extended forecast, and that's going to be coming in on Sunday, which we'll talk about here in just a couple of minutes. But right now, we got temperatures in the 60s to lower 70s here across central Ohio. 72 in Lancaster, 72 MacArthur, 73 Jackson and Piketon, and around 71 there in Marysville, even some upper 60s around Bucyrus. So overall conditions are pretty comfortable here for today. Humidity is low. We got the sun shining, and we'll see that continue here as we go through really the rest of your Monday, and eventually temperatures will start to warm back up here through the rest of the work week. But as we go through the rest of today, we're still tracking the clear skies and temperatures around the mid 70s again here today. We'll cool off into the 60s and eventually back down in the 50s and likely dipping into the upper 40s once again. We had that this morning. Many of us were in the mid 40s. We've even had a couple upper 30s on the map. So getting closer to that talk where we may start to see some of the frost and freeze conditions. Normally that doesn't happen until we get into October, and as we look ahead to the extended forecast, we're not likely going to see any temperatures in the 30s for quite some time as summer is still here. We don't officially start fall until 2 weeks from today on September 22nd. And even as we go through the forecast through mid-September, still looks to be pretty mild with highs in the 70s, and really we have a lot of 80s in the forecast. But thankfully this time around with the 80s, we do not have that humidity. Humidity levels are not going to be there, so it actually won't really feel that bad to be outside here when we get that heat really kicking in here by the weekend and going into next week. Now, as we track things on the hour-by-hour forecast, there isn't a lot to track. There really is no rain. There may be a couple of clouds out there here today, but clear skies for tonight, and clear skies continue here into Tuesday morning. By the afternoon, though, we could start to see a couple scattered clouds like we have here this afternoon if you're stepping outside. Ample sunshine, but there are a couple clouds here and there, and that's all we really have to talk about here today and tomorrow. Going into Wednesday, though, we could start to see a few more clouds building in. And then let's go into the long-range forecast here. This is later this week and into the weekend, as this is going to be the time when we start to see our next potential system building in. And I say potential because not all the computer projections are showing a chance for a system moving in. Some keep it well to our north, some don't even have it showing up, but this one I want to show just because it does give us that chance for some rain showers to build in, maybe even a few thunderstorms here by Sunday. But here we are Friday morning, not a lot happening. Friday evening for high school football, things are looking a-okay. We got clear skies in the forecast, temperatures cooling off from the 80s during the afternoon, likely down into the 60s and 70s for game time. So really great conditions across the state of Ohio here for some high school football by Friday night. Then as we go into Saturday, here we are by 7 p.m. on Saturday. Also, conditions are looking great here for everything going on here across central Ohio going into the weekend, at least for the first half. Watch what happens as we get into Saturday night, and for Sunday, we start to see some rain showers, maybe a few thunderstorms building in here by around midday on Sunday. That continues to build to the south here, bringing us at least a chance for some scattered showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, and then by Monday, most of that clears out of the area, and that's our only real chance of rain here for really quite some time, as the outlook shows more above normal temperatures with highs likely in the 80s and really below normal chances for any sort of rainfall outside of that chance that we have here going into Sunday and Sunday night. For today, no chance of rain, mostly sunny skies, 74 for a high, southeast winds at 5 to 10. And then tonight, clear skies, light winds, temperatures cool off pretty quickly. We're down into the upper 40s, a few of us likely in the mid 40s, but I don't think we'll see as many of those upper 30s on the map here tomorrow morning. So still cool enough, but not getting quite as cold or as chilly as we had in some places, especially north of Columbus earlier this morning. And then as we look ahead to tomorrow, temperatures continue to warm up as we begin that trend towards the 80s here. We're going to be at 78 for tomorrow. After tomorrow, though, we start days with 80s, and really we got several days in the 80s here in the 7-day forecast. Looking ahead to that here, starting on Wednesday, a high of 82 degrees, and notice those overnight lows, they do start to warm back up into the 50s. So we are going to see an increase in those dew point temperatures, but they're not going to get quite as high as what we had, of course, over June, July, and August, where we had overnight lows down in the 70s. That meant we had high humidity. We're not going to see anything like that. We could see dew points getting closer to the lower 60s here by Sunday, so maybe feeling a little bit more of that humidity here by Sunday, but that's going to be the fuel for those showers and storms here with that system that could potentially roll through as we look ahead to Sunday afternoon and into Sunday night. So we are going to be watching that closely, as it really is our only next chance for any rainfall here across Ohio, and we are starting to see those drought conditions expanding now, so we could use some rain. It is nice to have a break right now because harvesting is going to be getting underway here through September into early October. So of course, getting the fields harvested, not really wanting that rain, but at least a little bit here and there, you know, always a good thing, especially when we're starting to see those drier conditions here across the state. So that's a look at your forecast. Let's go ahead and dive into a few other things that actually happened over the weekend. The full moon was out. This is the lunar eclipse that was not visible here, but it was visible over in Egypt. This is a look at the lunar eclipse over the pyramids of Giza on Sunday. A really cool sight there. You can see the deep red as the moon entered the Earth's shadow, and just made for a spectacular sight. And this is also because of the red coloring, known as the blood moon. But basically the timing of it resulted in us not being able to see it here in the United States and across North America, but other places, of course, did get to see that. So a really cool sight. Now, something also happening, this is Space Week in Ohio. Meteorologist Meredith Garfalo has more on that.
We are so glad that you are joining us. An exciting week. We have Ohio Space Week, which runs from September 9th through 13th. I have Kevin Chambers from Jobs Ohio, who is the lead for aerospace and defense. How important is this week for the state?
Well, it's huge. Aerospace and defense is a $1 trillion industry, and Ohio is stepping forward, and I mean Team Ohio, all over the state, but clearly an emphasis here in Central Ohio, where there's a lot of research and development happening here at Ohio State and in the surrounding communities. And Ohio is the #1 supplier to some of the key aerospace companies in the country.
You know, you and I are so excited when we talk about aerospace and just the space industry in general. I don't think people realize how much the space industry overall is growing, but also how it's providing jobs that so many of us already do. But now there's a whole new exciting sector that people can expand their lives into.
So here in Ohio, we've got a great team, and whether it be the presence of NASA Glenn, the Air Force Research Lab, both leading in the industries here in Ohio, and we put that together with the workforce. It's a great location. It's a great ecosystem for space to develop and for innovative technologies.
And Kevin, we're currently #9 in the U.S. according to your website for aerospace defense leaders as of last year. What do you think it's going to take for us to do to become one of the top slots there?
Well, I think we're moving. I think we're moving in that direction right now. We're seeing these big wins, whether it's Sierra Nevada Corporation, Joby Aviation, Anduril, and those wins are going to attract others to the state of Ohio. The supply chain that supports them and the research and development that's going to be married with them will absolutely result in new growth companies and additional opportunities.
What do you personally hope to see in the next 5 years, where we're at, what we've accomplished, what Ohio's name holds to it?
I think that Ohio is establishing itself as the leader in our country for aerospace and defense and for innovative aerospace. So as new ideas come to be developed, as new capabilities like we're seeing here at Anduril, at the research park at Ohio State, we're going to be on the cutting edge, and we're positioned very well to do that.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin Chambers from Jobs Ohio. We certainly are excited and to be part of that journey with you guys.
Thank you, Meredith.
Definitely some cool stuff happening here in the state of Ohio, and also some interesting things that are going on not too far away. We've been seeing the quiet weather here, but also in the Pacific Ocean, we've been watching the tropics as another hurricane is actually making its way through the Pacific Ocean. This is Hurricane Kiko, and it is on a weakening trend. It actually reached a major hurricane status over the weekend, but it is now beginning to weaken, and you can see there in the video, this is actually kicking up a lot of surf near Hawaii, as you're seeing a lot of people out there surfing as the waves are really kicking up. The good news, though, with this hurricane, after it reached Category 4 status with winds of 140 miles per hour, it is on a weakening trend here today. Last check, it was a Category 2 hurricane, and actually now continuing to weaken, likely down to a tropical storm as early as tonight. And thankfully, it is also tracking to the north of the Hawaiian Islands, but still enough to at least kick up some surf for the surfers there, having a good time out there in Hawaii. Meanwhile, here back in the lower 48 out in the west coast, there are some fires that are continuing to burn. And a new one actually has prompted the closure of some trails that are actually highly trekked in the Pacific Coast Trail. This is in Mount Rainier National Park. You can see the photos there just showing a lot of burning going on, as over 7,000 acres have burned just over the last couple of days there around the popular national park. And they were asked to, people to check the conditions before traveling out there, as fire crews are working to get that fire under containment. And not just this fire, but several others that continue to burn across the western part of the United States and into parts of Canada. So let's go ahead and look at some of those fires a little bit more detail. You can see all those little orange icons on the map. Those are all the individual fires that are burning currently here today. And notice there off the on the left side of your screen, that area of cloud cover just to the north and west of San Francisco. That is a weather system that is building in, and hopefully will bring to some rain to some of these areas that are dealing with the fires, to help the firefighters, all the crews battling those blazes here as we go through the next couple of days, as there will likely be some rain. Maybe not quite enough to hit all the fires, but definitely something to monitor. What we're also watching is all these fires are kicking up so much wildfire smoke into the atmosphere. You can see some of that building in from California in across Nevada, there north of Salt Lake City. But that larger area of smoke across Montana into the Dakotas, and over the course of today and through tomorrow, we're going to see some of that haze building through the Midwest. But here locally around Columbus and across central Ohio, not really seeing much of that even as we go into Monday. As we go through Tuesday and Wednesday, we're really not seeing much of that building in here. Basically, we're not going to see any haze until we get towards the end of the week. We could see a little bit of that getting closer to central Ohio. You can see there on the map where you see that orange showing up there across Minnesota and Iowa and parts of Wisconsin. This is Wednesday afternoon, so if we get closer to Thursday and Friday, if that can all hold together and doesn't disperse as much, some of that could get a little bit closer to Ohio, as I would say probably on Friday. So despite the sunshine in the forecast, there could be a little bit of haze, but as it stands right now, because it is starting to disperse from what we saw further to the west, it's not going to have an impact on the air quality. But as we've had here in the last couple of weeks, a couple of days where we have a little haze in the sky, definitely not out of the question. So we are watching that here again for the end of the week, but also watching that weather system coming in for Sunday, that if there is any haze, that will definitely help to clear things out and give us a little bit of moisture here. So we're watching that, but that's it for your weather here today. That's it for our 10 Weather Impact show. Coming up later on tonight, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz will be in with the latest forecast as well. So until then, you can catch more news and weather online as always at 10tv.com.